In my hand, I have 3 versions of the same card. A PSA 10 slab of the Kantos Legendary Birds. And just behind me on my bed, I have all the crap I bought from the auction site. It was an Amazon undeliverable auction, and as you can see, it is mostly toys, video games, and a little bit of music. Now, despite the fact that these are just 3 things, and that's a whole lot of things, I paid the same amount of money for both. But the real fun starts now, because I'm going to figure out what's worth more and what I could sell for a higher profit margin. I find myself here because in January of 2025, I decided to start importing Japanese booster boxes to sell on my online store. I was also doing live streaming on Whatnot, but after I saw how many fees they were taking, I decided to switch over to eBay. And because I switched over to eBay, I decided to carry a larger selection than I would have on Whatnot, which is why I have this N64 with me. But my big question here is not only what will make money, but why. I'm going to break down the actual cost for you guys at the end of the video because otherwise you will not be sticking around. But let's just say that I have a feeling that these things are going to move a lot faster than the things that actually bring joy. Things you can play. Things that are actually tied to your childhood. Although I guess for some people Pokemon cards are tied to their childhood. Now obviously I'm using AI to not only help me figure out what things I should buy on auction and for what price, but how much I should sell them for, keeping in mind the fees. The thing to remember is that the auction site I got this from doesn't just list the prices, it adds a 15% surcharge and then another 15% for HSC because I live in good old Canada. Whereas these bad boys, which are 9 birds if you count them all individually, I just bought these at a card show via e-transfer from some guy. Shout out to you. While I do have all the electronics listed on eBay and Facebook Marketplace, the cards are only listed on Facebook Marketplace because eBay takes a percentage off the value of the item sold. And I get it, everybody needs their cut, nothing in this world is free, we pay for the technology we use, whatever. But I'm in this for the margins, so let's see which margins are big. Because whatever I find is what I'm going to sink my money into. I mean folks, I don't know if you're watching the news, but the recession happened tomorrow, yesterday, next week. I can't keep track anymore, but you get the idea. We're looking at a situation where the dollar might be worthless, and these birds might become an asset class of their own. Shiny cardboard wrapped in plastic. Love it. Right, first let's break down what exactly it is I'm doing. I'm going to a site called 403 Auctions where you're able to bid on lost, freight, or undeliverable items from Amazon. Now fortunately I can't just dump that into ChatGPT and tell it to bid for me, but I can do the next best thing, which is sharing screenshots. Once I get the items I'm looking for, I dump that into a fun little spreadsheet. You know, everybody loves a pivot table. Now I'm just kind of okay at spreadsheets, so obviously I had the AI help me out with this too and figure out the formulas. I'm tracking the price I paid for it, how much it is with the premium, how much I priced it at, how much I sold it for, the profit amount, and then the profit as a percentage. Pretty much all the unsexy numbers that turn this from a garage sale into a business. Without a spreadsheet, it's just kind of vibes and hoarding. Nobody wants that. We're in this to make money. The part that nobody shows is that selling things takes forever, unless of course they're Pokemon cards. Slabs are gone within 2 days to a guy named Chad who lives in Waterloo who drives 2 hours just for saving 20 bucks. Whereas the auction junk kinda just sits on Facebook and tire kicks as I go back and forth with someone who doesn't respond past 2 messages. Not to mention the people who just want to trade for like vape juice or something like that. eBay's better, but at the end of the day you are working for it. For example, I actually sold a Mario DS card. And I think I made like 28 cents. After shipping and their fees, you're kind of left scraping for pennies. And this is where the punchline comes in. These 3 cards and all that junk on my bed, I both got those for about 800 bucks. I'm not saying one is better than the other. Of course the cards will probably move faster, but they're also very volatile. Obviously I keep track of my slabs in a spreadsheet as well. And I can tell you that Jolteon, Vaporeon, and Sylveon that I graded myself and sold made 8.3% profit. Now that N64 that I had in the beginning of this video, I actually just sold it. Funny story, I was actually selling it to someone who was putting together a pen pack. And if you're wondering what's a pen pack, go look at my earlier videos and it should make sense. Now here's the kicker. For that N64, I made 16.67% profit. And I threw in the game, which I marked up an additional 100%. Now the market on these birds right now is going absolutely crazy. And I know that because I follow the influencers who tell you when cards are about to go crazy. In fact, I was just at a card show and it was with this one guy who's a power eBay seller who's in this group chat. And apparently anytime something starts pumping, the group chat gets alerted and they all pull it out so that they aren't selling their wares for cheap. And I say that to say, it's going to be hard to game the system if you're new at this. That's why your most important friend is the spreadsheet. Even if I sell those cards for what market value is right now, I'm only hitting about 20% profit, which is the best so far, don't get me wrong. But that's assuming it goes up. As we've seen with my evolutions, there's a chance that graded cards could actually go down in value as a result of reprints. You don't have that problem with the other comics and toys. Now, I've personally never been a big anime guy except for Dragon Ball Z, which I know doesn't count. I picked this up because I knew that someone would like it. It turns out this could be like 400% value profit. Not to mention this Final Fantasy doll, which is still in the box. After the premium, I got this bad boy for $185.50, and at the price of about $200 right now. It's going to take a while to move, but once it does, I'm looking at an 8% profit. Now, I know that you might be thinking to yourself, this is like a lot of money, not a lot of money. That'd be right. But even the most boring business will one sale at a time. Now, keep in mind, the most boring business that makes a lot of money is Costco, and they have about a 14% profit margin. Well, a long way to go, but follow me along for the journey, and let's see how much this stuff actually sells for. You'll see what flips, what flops. Either way, it's in your best interest to subscribe. Or don't, I'll still be here, and I'll be arguing with a 61-year-old from Guelph about the price of a 4-pack CD of the Police Ultimate Collection. Because life is all about consistency.